Mic check. 1, 2. Mine's working. Uh-huh. Test, test, test. Okay. Just everybody test your mic because I got all three of them on.
Mic check.
Test 1, 2.
Okay.
Test 2, 3.
That'll work. That'll work.
You're at 3, 4. No, I did it.
Test.
No,
Okay.
I'm joking.
I just remember I have a deaf ear. I have to check. Okay. All right. Stand by to stand by. The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we're the ones that convince you to go ahead and like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors, because if it's happening on the Treasure Coast, you'll hear about it on the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. Well, what do you know? Here she is, your host, Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the show, and I'm really happy to be here, and especially since the two people in the room with me today are people that I'm pretty close with. One of them is Caniera Gardner, and she is the CEO of Inc., which stands for Incubate Neighborhood Center.
Hi, Sue Ellen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great.
And I first met Caniera. Actually, I met her when she was doing work with United Against Poverty. And then she saw the need to provide more services for Fort Pierce, and she opened Inc. up in the old, if you've been here for a while, we call it the old Means Court building or the Means Court School, because the school board used to have their production studios there at Means Court. But now it's the business location. The business incubator is actually a community center that's located at Means Court and 13th Street. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. We'll talk about how it came to be. The last time Caniera was on the show with me was just when you were opening at the very beginning. So the programs that you were talking about then were things that you were basically planning and dreaming of, and now you've spent 9 months doing so.
Absolutely. We have had a tremendous amount of success with our programs. We have an entrepreneurship program that in 2022, we served over 60 businesses on the Treasure Coast. Also, we have a home ownership program in which 126 residents went through on last year. We have a network of community partners, over 40 community partners that come in and off the campus to serve our community in a mighty way.
And you partner with a lot of different agencies. And so when I got this harebrained idea to have a nonprofit organization and call it Our Sister's Closet, and kind of be like the Robin Hood for clothing and get the clothing from people who don't need it anymore, career clothing, and open a donation boutique for those to shop it for free. And Caniera was the very first person I called. And I said, what do you think? And she said, we would love for that to be a program because it fits. It dovetails so nicely in with what you're doing with the entrepreneurship and encouraging the partnerships and the business community. So I'd like to also introduce my co-founder, the second person I called, to start, and Cindy Liebman. And Cindy Liebman is the past editor of the Luminaries, back in Luminaries' heyday.
Yes, it was.
When it was like a 100-page publication, and everybody wanted to be in it. And she and I, have known each other for 25 years because we both worked at BNC Bank and we both worked at the Tribune at the same time. And she and I retired within months of each other. and had two things happen. One, that we were looking at closets full of clothing that we didn't need to wear or want to wear anymore. And we'd called places to see who had specific needs for career clothing, and we couldn't find a place on the Treasure Coast. And then also at the same time, we were both looking for something, to feed our energy and take. How did you describe it?
I hated retirement.
Oh, no, not that part. To feed the need to make a difference in the community.
Yes.
I hated
Well,
retirement.
so I wasn't I was struggling with retirement. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. She was struggling with not having a cause, honestly. And not to say that there aren't plenty of wonderful causes out there. And Caniera and Sydney and I all have served on boards or served as officers or been a member of different organizations and agencies. But when you see that a need is not being met and you feel like you have the ability to help people meet that need, then it's on you to do it. I feel like it's God's calling.
Oh, absolutely. I second that motion, Sue Ellen.
So let's talk about the beginning of Inc. to begin with. You opened last spring, and your building, the entire first floor, is already flourishing with activity. And then you have plans for the second floor and also an outbuilding for the future. Let's talk about what you have now, that you're doing now, and about the programs that you've already launched.
Oh, absolutely. It was a major overhaul to just get the first floor just ready for utilization. And I wanted to be extremely very intentional on when people come in the building, they feel safe, they feel loved, they feel cared for. There's a lot of colors, and they just feel invited. So I took some time to just beautify the building, to make it something that the community can be very proud of. And so in the building on the first floor, which is the first phase, we have an internet cafe in which community members can come and get coffee. Also, the entire building has free Wi-Fi. So when they're in the internet cafe, you see a lot of business owners just on their laptops, really in their zone. It's networking is coming out of it. Businesses are expanding because of it. And then also we have a TV production studio that's in the building. We have a full green screen, gifts of St. Lucie County School Board, because they utilize the building as a TV production studio. But also we add a library, a conversation station. We have a podcast room. We have all the equipment for a full recording studio as well. And then we have classrooms in which we train the community on necessary services that they need to just take it to the next level. Also, our community partners utilize the classrooms for training. We have different entities like the NAACP, a lot of sororities and fraternities that actually have monthly meetings on the campus. We have a computer lab in which we partner with VITA to provide free tax services for residents as well. So we're always just trying to, like you said, it's a need out there and you just need to fill the need. So that's been our focus on this last year. But, we're looking forward to expanding on the second floor and starting phase 2 very soon.
And as far as the classes that you've already had and already offered, you're on your second group of your CEO class.
Well, actually, it's the third cohort.
It's the third.
It's the third cohort, and we have We have entrepreneurships of all ages. We're taking a multi-generational approach. The last cohort, we had 3 awesome youth to actually graduate from our CEO program, which is CEO is short for Commerce, Entrepreneurship, and Operation Program. It's a national business model that was created 30 years ago by a company out of Minnesota. It's proven to be effective. It has all the statistics to go with it. It works if you work the program. And so we were honored to scale that program into St. Lucie County. In the 55 communities that the program is being implemented across our nation, it's only 2 in Florida, and we're one of the 2. The other one is out of Overtown in Miami. So the program is extremely very prestigious. They work with the Kresge Foundation, the Kellogg Foundation. They work with the federal government. And so it's real interesting because, by this partnership, I have the opportunity to be a part of some of those calls. And so to just see how the program is just transforming communities that look very similar to the Lincoln Park community, I see where we are now, but I know how working this program, what 20 years will look like, because the business incubator and those other spaces are just doing a tremendous job, because those entrepreneurs that we're training, they're actually is buying property in that area and revitalizing the property, and that's overall is what revitalized the area. One of our business owners, and I'm so proud of her, she actually moved her she actually scaled into Fort Pierce. She bought a building. She's a 6-figure business, and she's revitalized the building already. And so, and I feel proud that we had something to do with that. And so 10 years from now, that whole entire community is going to be transformed. But we do have it in youth as well. So on last December, we had a 10-year-old to graduate who has a gourmet cookie business called Cookie Cuties. We had a 12-year-old to graduate. Her business is called The Little Lemon. She sells gourmet sweet tea and lemonade, and also facial products that's all natural, that smell like lemonade, as well as lotion that smell like lemonade.
I'd like it right now.
Absolutely. And she's proud because she said, I employ my siblings. So, but and we had a 15-year-old that actually had 2 businesses. And from our program, she has had a lot of different opportunities. She's been on the radio. She was able to participate in the Links Financial Empowerment Conference as a panelist, and is just really expanding her 2 businesses. And we're so extremely proud of her. Initially, I was like, would youth even want to do this? But then I just looked at my own personal journey, and I can honestly say I had my first business in the 6th grade. I sold candy at school. It was very profitable, but it's just I had that entrepreneurship drive then, and I realized that most entrepreneurs, they start early, but there's no place around here in St. Lucie County that youth can go to get the training that they need in order to just expand on their business. So we've seen families actually have better communication skills because the parents actually came to the classes with the youth. So they worked together. So the parents was able to buy in on their youth, their kids' business, and really just work together to just expand the business. And, the 10-year-old is proud because her mom bought her a food truck. So, how many 10-year-olds have a food truck?
Yes,
So, but we had a lot of great successes. We had businesses go from concept to conception to
and
scale.
those are the adult business as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's 2 different things. I don't want people to get confused and think this is only addressed to youth. It's not. You have the full-scale adult CEO classes too.
Absolutely. Yes, we have adult classes as well as youth classes. And so this January the 26th started our 3rd cohort. And we started with adult as well as youth.
And in addition to that, you also offer classes already. You have the internet cafe, but you also have a building that's equipped where you can teach people different skills that they need, not necessarily to be a CEO, but to be effective a member of the workforce, including very basic to computer skills.
Oh, absolutely. We have basic computer classes. We have PowerPoint, Excel classes as well. Because one thing we realize about the CEO program actually is that it's a lot of individuals that are not technology savvy. And some of them just needed basic computer classes. So we're scaling to be a benefit not only to our the residents of the community, but also our program participants. And so we're getting ready to start a technology class to add to the other workshops that we will provide. We just solidified another deal with an organization, well-known organization out of Atlanta, that's going to be facilitating our nonprofit workshops, because we're realizing that some nonprofits are small and they might need grant writing, or they might need to expand their capacity to serve the community better, or just several different reasons. And so we're bringing that because we realize even though the businesses went through our entrepreneurship program, and we also service a lot of nonprofits in that same programs, but nonprofit is just a little bit different.
It is, and because your focus isn't always necessarily on making money, it's on being able. But on the other hand, if you lose money, then you can't keep your doors open. So
absolutely,
there's definitely a need. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about that too. And then on Wednesdays, and actually all the times you're open, because you're open Monday through Friday, and then you have different special events a lot of times on the weekend. But particularly on Wednesdays, you have in the parking lot a partnership with a number of other organizations who come and provide services in both the parking lot and in the building. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yes. It's called Resource Wednesdays, in which we partner with Treasure Coast Food Bank for their mobile market fresh vehicle, which is like a grocery store on wheels. I mean, you can get protein, dairy, eggs are $2.50.
Oh my goodness.
You can get fresh produce, household items, canned goods, snacks for your kids. So you literally can go shopping. I mean, I utilize it all the time, and my bill is around $11, and I have 3-4 bags, $11-12, and that's a great deal, especially in today's economy. So you have a lot of senior citizens that come because a lot of people don't want a handout. I'm just being honest. They're hardworking people. Right. They don't want you to give them anything. They want to pay for what they get. But with inflation and the cost of wages is not keeping up with the cost of living. Right. Sometimes people have to make choices between bills and medication. So this has been a huge asset for people to not have to worry about food. That they can come, they can shop, they can have the dignity, and they can pay for their items. They're just at a lower cost, but they're just as fresh as what's in a grocery store. So we're proud for that partnership. And then we have Florida Community Health Center that comes out and gives out STD screenings, COVID tests. We had people that got COVID vaccinated from the first time. And, and I'm thinking everybody is vaccinated, but really it is a lot of people that are still not vaccinated. So, and then they're there to just answer questions. And I think that's important because sometimes people don't have the opportunity to go to a medical provider. And so they can come and just speak to medical providers. And sometimes they can either see them that day, or if it's something like that's very serious, they'll refer them to their center, but they'll make all the connections for them so they can just walk in.
And I know that referral is so important because sometimes people are dealing with something and they don't even know where to start.
Exactly.
So to get everybody together on Community Resource Wednesdays, and to offer a place where people can, if you live in that neighborhood, you could walk, or you could easily get a ride, or use the transportation. And the other thing that we've all seen in this area, the importance of, and you talked about this, of people feeling like they're contributing to their own welfare. You don't want anyone feeling like they're getting a handout. So a lot of times people might not sign up for some of the services they need because they are too prideful.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to be in a situation where you're financially strained, you're already stressed, and it's a lot of things that went on in the community because of COVID. So everything has been compounded. But then, to have to worry about, should I go get this, and you don't feel proud about it. I mean, that's not a good thing. You want people to feel proud about the services that you're offering. I mean, you do have a group of people that, feel entitled, and that like entitlement programs, which things are given out for free. But then you have a whole bunch of people, the majority of the community, that want nothing to do with it. They want some help, but they don't want to feel embarrassed by it.
Yeah.
And so we start to look at that in pretty much everything that we do. We had a great Christmas event, and we took that in mind. We wanted to we call it a Christmas mall, in which we wanted to provide the community with the parents in the community that needed help for Christmas to provide items to keep their dignity intact, and the most important, to give them choice. So we had a collective of clothing items, shoes, we had toys, we had appliances, bedding. And so they were personally invited to this No Kids event. They were allowed to go pick the items that their children needed. And because who knows a kid best than their parent?
And you even had a wrapping station for them.
Yeah, we had a wrapping station so they can select the wrapping paper that they wanted for their kids, and they personally put their kids' names on it. And just to see the smiles in those parents' faces when they were leaving with the items, and they was just so appreciative that they had the opportunity, because we didn't want, for their kids to remember us for their Christmas gift. We wanted them to appreciate their parent for the Christmas gift.
Or Santa Claus, depending on the age,
exactly.
yes.
But that's a family unit. You want to keep the pride in the family unit,
Yeah, no, that's very true. So you got a lot of different things that are going on that are very positive, but we're going to take just a minute to address something that we've been talking a lot about lately, and that is Fort Pierce being on the national news as being a dangerous city because of the incident that happened on Martin Luther King Day. And I know that you're trying to be part of the solution, that part of it is perception. And I know that you were in the meeting that took place this week. That was a number of different organizations coming together. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. It was so unfortunate that we made national news for the wrong reasons. And I think it was disheartening, and a lot of people felt very sad. It's one thing to go through the trauma of what occurred, but then it's another thing when you have a city that's beautiful to most be portrayed as if something that is not. The reality is that over the last decade, crime has went down significantly. It's so tragic that because of a person's emotions, they shot into a crowd of people. One person, Miss Bryant, she lost her life. 7 other people were injured by gunshot wounds. You have 4 youth that was trampled over by people trying to escape the event. And I just realized enough is enough. It's our obligation as community members to really strategize and come together. So I work with an organization called Lincoln Park Advisory Council. And it has a multitude of organizations associated with it. From you have Youth Ignite, you have Career Source, you have certain St. Lucie County School Board that is on it, our organization. You have medical providers. You pretty much have all the organizations that service the community. And so we've been looking at gun violence and violence in the community as a whole over the last couple of months. And we started strategizing a way that we could bring the community together to go with a national model of how you can really turn community around when it comes to violence. So we did researched all this data to just know where we're going. And then this incident happened. And then it became an urgency that we really get out, hear from the community, because you can't possibly put together an action plan if you don't involve the community, because you need the community to buy into the plan. So last night was just the first part of just hearing from the community. And so, we got a consultant to just give us advice on how we needed to maneuver the conversation, knowing that people are suffering with trauma. People are emotional about what happened at the park. So we knew we had to have the conversation in a certain manner in which we can keep the temperature down. And we were very successful in it. It was a very positive conversation. You had a lot of community leaders, a lot of church pastors and youth organizations that wanted to be a part of the leadership team, because what we established prior to going into the meeting was an ecosystem specifically for gun violence, to flush out who we needed at the table when it comes to strategic planning. And so we was able to invite those individuals to the table, then had them to volunteer to be a part of the next process, which is leadership. So we're going to take all that feedback to the leaders and put together a strategic plan based on it. And so the ecosystem is what is going to implement that plan. We also partner with Survivors of Murder Victims, which is an advocacy group, and go out and meet with the family members of someone who has been murdered. And so the two leads organization on the project is LPAC, which is Lincoln Park Advisory Council, and Survivors of Murder Victims. But we explained to the community, I'm also executive member of LPAC. We explained to the community that our role is just to facilitate the plan, bring everybody together, and just mobilize. But this is not our plan. This is going to be a community plan to get everybody.
It's everybody's plan.
Absolutely.
It's interesting that you pointed out too that in general violence has decreased over the last 10 years, and it's not by accident that it's decreased. It's by plan and giving people alternatives and offering services for people who need it, but also offering and encouraging youth programs. The number of youth programs in St. Lucie County and in Fort Pierce specific have grown a lot. So there are a lot of different opportunities for kids to be a part of something other than a gang.
Oh, absolutely. And then also, St. Lucie County Roundtable played a huge part in the violence going down. It was some members of that committee that traveled to another part of this nation to get the best practices of what they was doing to reduce crime, and they brought it back to this community and start implementing it. And so, the violence going down, because everybody sits on that roundtable board. You have the sheriff, you have both police chiefs, you have probation, you have
the city of Fort Pierce, the city of Port St. Lucie, St. Lucie County. You have everybody who's in any way connected with the community, law enforcement, and people. You have the United Way. You have, and so there's a representative from each of those organizations, or sometimes two, that comes to the table, and they meet monthly, and they come up with solutions.
Absolutely. And so a lot of the reason why even Children's Service Council is on that board. The reason why, the crime reduces because, St. Lucie County is very unique. They have the round table, and to be honest, how they just mobilize the county, it's other communities that's doing studies about them and how successful they have been. So just one of their successes is reducing the violence in Fort Pierce. But with anything, over time, you had COVID, so the dynamics have changed, and so you can identify some of the weaknesses, but I look at it as opportunities for improvement. And so based on the data, we know where the weaknesses are. And so when we're doing our planning to convene with the community, we know where to go because we know where we need to add strength. But our plan is just to make it safe for everyone, because what came out of that conversation is that some parents don't even allow their kids to play in the front yard because they don't feel safe. And to me,
that's so sad.
Very sad, because I can't remember my childhood without going outside.
Yeah.
Like, I always was outside with my siblings, with my neighbors, and we played, from double dutch to football to basketball to, hide and seek. Because you think a kid is a kid, and you can't, we already was, away from people because of COVID. And now we can't engage because we don't feel safe at home. I feel sad by some of those comments that I heard last night, but it has sparked a fire in me to do something about it, though.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you're doing personally through Inc. is you're offering the different classes that will train people up into being successful, not just entrepreneurs, but office workers, learn to operate computers and also help them make the contacts at the same time, partnering with the different organizations who can come in and use your building, and people can use their services at the building.
Oh, absolutely. We have a lot of partners, and they bring a lot of good, from conferences to empowerment workshops to, it's always something going on at Inc. We have a month-long worth of events ahead of us to just do tremendous work in the community. And, I'm proudful to be a host to some of this. And, we have another event that the Links is bringing down, another empowerment conference. And so, and a youth conference as well, to use that multi-generational approach. And it is being successful. We're starting to be known. Like, if somebody has a problem, even if we can't solve the problem, we know who could solve the problem. Just making those connections instead of, people going around in circles have been extremely successful. But yes, we do a lot of training. Looking forward to adding on additional training for some hard skills like technology. We want to give youth or adults the opportunity through a tech hub to make apps and make and just open them or introduce them to the tech industry, because those are high paying jobs, and it's kind of hard if people in certain areas just never have the opportunities or think that they can't go and make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in the tech field, because it's high paying, and that's where the future is going.
You also, you're talking about the learning opportunities, but you use your parking lot, which is a completely fenced-in area, as well, for different celebrations too. As a matter of fact, on the day of the Martin Luther King celebration at the park that turned deadly, you had a very controlled, wonderful, well-attended celebration at the Inc. location as well.
Oh, absolutely. It was Dr. Martin Luther King Commemorative Committee partner with me to have that event, and it was like several hours of live music. The band was absolutely wonderful. It was just a really good celebration. So to be honest, that event was the official Martin Luther King event. I mean, we had security walking around. Everybody felt extremely very safe, and we had no incidents. And we had a Juneteenth event on last year in which we had over 1,000 people to attend, and we had no incidents. We had law enforcement there. We had 5 hours of live music of different types of jazz artists, and we had over 40 vendors there. Most of them sold out that day, and we're looking forward to doing it this year as well, because I feel that if you prepare well, you have security measures in place, and I guess our events just attract different kind of people, to be honest.
Well, I think the preparation is the key, and so the people that come, that know, that feel secure that you have the presence of law enforcement there, not to get them in trouble, but to watch out for them, and you're able to use that area to have the celebrations like MLK Day celebration and Juneteenth celebration. So what you're looking at for the future of Inc. Is to be able to partner with some of your CEOs to offer them office space, so if you and anybody can come and they can tour Inc. Monday through Friday. Is it 9 to 5 or 9:30?
9:30 to 5. But if they want to, we doing lunch and learns if they want to learn more about the organization, and those are typically on the third Wednesdays of the month. So we have those. But yeah, I mean, if we're looking forward to partnering with other entities to have them be co-located with us. A lot of them utilize this space now, but to actually, be there. But we do have some businesses that get their mail sent to our address, and they have mailboxes and stuff like that at the building. But collaboration is the key. One of the things that we're most excited about is a partnership with a national CDFI to be able to provide business loans to small businesses. That's something that we've probably been working on for about 4 months, and we're nearing the end of it, where contracts and stuff like that is going to be in place to solidify our partnership. But going into, training these entrepreneurs, I realize their biggest obstacle is lending.
Right.
And 95% of all small businesses don't even qualify for traditional lending. Right. So where do they go? Where does that 95% go that can't go into the bank? A lot of them take high interest loans that put them in debt, and sometimes easily
with predatory lenders.
Absolutely.
Taking advantage.
Absolutely. So we're looking at low interest loans with our partner with the National CDFI. And so we want to specialize in micro lending. So when they pay those micro funds back, it puts them into position to get that higher loan, because from speaking to branch managers, vice presidents of banks and stuff like that, they really don't make money on loans under $250,000. A lot of businesses they're not able to even go after a $250,000 loan, so they need micro loans. So our key to help them is to prepare people for the micro loans, help them to be successful in repaying the micro loans, and it's like a step. So we give them steps to traditional lending. So that's what our 2023 focus is going to be, besides scaling into the second floor. It's been a lot to go on just in the last couple of weeks. Just looking at all the architectural plans for a scaling. We're going to put not one but two elevators in the building to get on the second floor. So, but we're excited about this next chapter, and even outside, we do have plans because we have 2.57 acres, and we have plans on the south side of the building to put a farmer's market, a liquidation center, and like 20 modular shipping container retail spaces to create like kind of like a retail outlet out of there. That's something cool, but an amphitheater in the corner, because concerts and just bringing and doing more culturally focused events is going to be big at our location. So that space gives us the opportunity to scale in that capacity, because we do have a lot of events outside. Like we had last year, we partnered with a lot of entities to do a back to school bash, in which we gave over 1,000 book bags to the communities. We had barbers there to do free haircuts. We had stylists there to do free hairdos. We had the Lion Club there to do eye exams. We had the health clinic there to do STD testing or health screenings that was needed.
So you offer the location and you partner with them to bring all these things together that the kids and the families need for back to school.
Yes.
Well, one of the big things that's going to be opening in 2023 is something, and Sydney has been so patient sitting and waiting for our turn to talk about our sister's closet. And because of listening to everything that Caniera was talking about, when she and I came up with this plan, I had reached out to Caniera, and she said, yes, a donation boutique, something to give women career clothing. That was something in our long-term plan. And I said, well, how about if Sydney and I come in, put it together for you, and provide a nonprofit umbrella called Our Sister's Closet to gather women's clothing, career clothing, and present it in a boutique. And Caniera has shown us our permanent home. We've been collecting for since August.
Yes,
so
since August.
Yeah, 6 months, collecting clothes at different clothing donation locations, including the property appraiser's 2 offices, one in St. Lucie West and one at the county admin building. And so we've been collecting, and Sydney and I, and so we get to see Caniera at least a couple times a week. We come over there and sort the clothes, but the clothes were all stored on racks that were temporary racks on the second floor. And just recently, not even a month ago, Caniera showed us the room that we're going to have as our permanent boutique. So, Sydney, you've got some really fun things planned for that.
Well, first of all, I'm just really excited that it's on the first floor. I just have to say that.
Those knees are both of us,
Yeah.
No elevator in the building yet. But we wanted to be on the first floor.
I don't care anymore. No, that's not fair to say.
We're happy that you're getting an elevator.
Yes, we are.
We're still also very happy that we're going to be on the first floor.
But our new digs are beautiful, and there's a little room built into our space that will be used as our dressing room. It's actually big enough to be 2 dressing rooms. I think we're going to use part of it for storage. And we are going to be using there's a little space towards the back that we'll be using for sorting. All of the clothes that come in have to be sorted because we are very specific about taking in professional attire for job hunting, for interviews, and then once a job is attained. And so hopefully we've covered all of those bases because we have a lot of clothes right now. And since neither one of us has ever done anything like this before, we have no idea how long these clothes are going to last. And so we have no idea, frankly, how much to keep taking in right at the moment.
So we just keep taking
we just
it
keep
and
taking them.
sorting it.
We do.
No, we're really blessed that we have a community with
Yes.
a lot of people with experience who do have experience in retail. And of course, Graceway, we toured Graceway, and we've been a part of volunteering with Graceway, and they have their closet for teenagers and kids, where the kids can come in. It used to be once a week, and now it's twice a week. They come in with their family or with their guardian, and they shop the boutique. And that's kind of what we've planned our strategy around, is doing something similar to Graceway's closet, specific to that. But we're not. Caniera is already providing, and other community organizations are providing the rest of the services. We're not going to try to feed anybody. We're not going to try to teach anybody. We're going to partner, and we're going to be the part where we clothe people. And, you know, as Sydney talked about, the clothes we're looking for are women's career clothing. And we'll present it like a boutique. And then on the Community Resource Wednesdays, we'll have hours where people can come in and shop. They'll have to sign up ahead of time. They'll come in and shop, and they'll be able to get anywhere from 3 to 5 outfits, depending on what we have and in their size and with their needs. They'll be able to try things on. We'll have people who will volunteer that are their stylists, so they'll come in and they'll have a time to talk about what type of office they're working in, or what type of jobs they're looking for, or what are their favorite colors, what's their style. But the clothes that we've collected so far are beautiful.
They are.
And a lot of them still have price tags on them from people who, you know, maybe they changed their size or changed their taste. And that's what we're encouraging. So specific to our Sisters Closet, we just started a website. Right now it's still diverting back to our Facebook page, but it's Our Sisters Closet, and the website is oursistersclosetfl.org. So we are nonprofit, and we're not planning on making any money. Nobody that's affiliated with our particular purpose is going to be taking a salary, and we'll be offering women who it might be temporary. It might be something, you know, maybe there was illness in your family, or maybe you just don't have the money right now to go shopping for clothes. You just got a new job, or you want to look for a new job, and you have very casual clothing and you need something like that. Well, we're going to be a place where you can shop, and exactly what you were talking about, Caniera, not taking people's pride, but allowing them to come in and shop like it's a store, and be able to get the clothes in their sizes, in their favorite colors, and to be styled and go out and have jackets or lightweight sweaters, skirts, pants, slacks, blouses, shirts, all that are career appropriate. So, you know, we don't throw away the things that we get that are not appropriate. We give them to Mustard Seed or to another agency that needs it. But our boutique is going to be specific to career clothing. And we're decorating it. This is the month that we're going to be painting and decorating it. And our husbands came in and put hangers, clothing hanger racks on the wall. So that was a big excitement too. I know, Caniera, you were touring people through your building that day.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and they were hearing a lot of noise going on in our little neck of the woods. So moving forward, we're going to need people to help volunteer to work on the Wednesdays that our Sisters Closet's going to be open. We're going to need groups, women's groups, to do donation drives for us for career clothing. This month, February, the Fort Pierce Women's Club is doing a clothing drive, a career clothing drive. And last month, Florida Public Relations Association Treasure Coast chapter did a clothing drive. We're going to need people who, some of these groups can come in and help us sort clothing. Sydney's funny because we've had some of our friends coming in and helping sort occasionally, but she keeps pointing out to me, Sue Ellen, just because it's not your taste doesn't mean it's not appropriate for an office. And the other thing, and she's going to say if I don't say too, is there's a lot of the clothing that is in the stuff that we've already sorted, that it's collected, that belongs to us, that came from our closets, and she's got to keep me from taking my clothes back home with me.
She has separation anxiety from her clothes.
Yeah, we're so excited about being able to provide that service because Caniera, I know, you talked about the pride, you talked about the importance of giving people the tools they need, and we feel like career clothing is a tool that people need to be successful, to feel comfortable and to be proud and to feel good about themselves.
Absolutely.
Confidence.
I just want to say one thing. I have a background in workforce development, and preparing people for the employment field. It's difficult. When people get excited, their resume is good, they have the interview, and then it's like, wow, I don't have anything to wear. Mm-hmm. And so I visited an organization out of Chicago that had a career closet, boutique style. And when we first talked about this, I was so elated, just the opportunity to bring something like that to St. Lucie County, and just like you said, give them choice. I think it gives women confidence when they're able to choose what they want to wear and it be their style. I think you empower women on a grave level, and I really appreciate you guys for doing that.
I'm glad you used the word empower, because that's what's important, is that we're women who are lifting other women and empowering women. So we just have a couple more minutes. Caniera, it's just been a pleasure hearing more details about what Inc. is providing, and I know you are always offering these services, and they're not just for people who qualify in the Lincoln Park neighborhood. They're for anybody in St. Lucie County who has the need.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes beyond St. Lucie County, we have participants come all the way from Brevard to Stewart, actually, to utilize our services.
Because the services are so specific, and that's what we hope to do with our Sisters Closet too. Sydney, thank you for joining me today, and I know as we move forward with our plans, when we hope to open sometime in the spring, when we have our clothing sorted and ready to go. And we're so happy to be a partner with you, Caniera.
We are.
Absolutely, I am too.
You've been listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, and we've been talking to Caniera Gardner, the CEO of Incubate Neighborhood Center, and Sydney Liebman, who is co-founder with me of Our Sisters Closet, a nonprofit organization that will be opening a donation clothing boutique. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time with more.